female professional manager within a decade, predicts Heather Rabatt. FA director and former Millwall executive Heather Rabatt believes there could be a female manager at a professional football club within a decade. Rabatt thinks there is a need for more women at all levels of the game, and attitudes are changing. Speaking to Sky Sports on International Women's Day, she said, "I think within a decade we will start to see some women appearing on the touchlines." I would like to see more chief executives as women and more of the team doctors as women. We live in an age when over 50% of medical students are women, so I think it is about a commitment to the whole game in terms of representation. Whether that's from the coaching and development side to the running of the organisations. Just 3 women coaches currently hold a UEFA Pro license compared to 200 men, while 17 women possess an A license compared to 1,084 men. There are 25,275 women with the lower level 1 license, but 230,074 men have disqualification. West Ham have a female chief executive in Karen Brady, but Hammer's joint chairman David Gold believes there will never be a female manager. Gold told Sky Sports, how is she going to deliver that motivation before kickoff? How is she going to deliver? How is she going to raise the testosterone levels in the players? I just find it very, very difficult that she is going to be swearing because it's part of the culture. Premier League players told Sky Sports News that they support the idea of a female manager, but a number of current bosses have expressed their doubts. When quizzed by a 35-year-old whether or not it would happen in his lifetime, Crystal Palace manager Ian Holloway said probably not. Wigan manager Roberto Martinez said, I don't think it's a case of gender. I think it's more of a case of knowledge and experience. England women's head coach Hope Powell believes it would be possible for a woman to take charge of a professional team, but believes the clubs themselves need to take a leap of faith. Now, you know what? There's a little bit more to this because International Women's Day was pretty groundbreaking in terms of women in football. Get that hashtag trending, women in football. PFA to allow women footballers to join from next season. Also on March 8th, from March 8th, 2013, women players will be allowed to join the PFA, Professional Footballers Association, for the first time from next season. The announcement will see all players registered for the Women's Super League able to sign up to the PFA and to attend the traditionally all-male PFA annual awards dinner. PFA Chairman Clark Carlisle said it is fantastic that women players will now be able to join the PFA. It has been a long time in coming. It's perfect timing that this is announced on International Women's Day. It should be good for both female players who will now have the support of a long-established union and for the PFA in terms of increased membership. Now, one thing, I'm very glad that women footballers are allowed to join the PFA from next season. My problem is, day late, dollar short. You just so happened to announce this on International Women's Day. You just so happened to. And I said this to you, G-Man, when I heard about it. You just so happened to mention it. The PFA think they're smart. They really do think they're smart. Yeah, good PR and all that kind of crap. But at the end of the day, come on. They really think they're slick. But you know what? It's good that it's happened. As I said, day late, dollar short, but better late than never. Now, a female manager within a decade, I personally wouldn't be against it. If a female manager wanted to come and manage Ibis, let's say Manisha Taylor, for instance, wanted to come and manage Ibis, for instance, because Pitch Talk Meets Manisha Taylor came out on the 8th of March, International Women's Day. Now, I would not be opposed to that because from Manisha's interview and obviously from us talking to her a lot and meeting her and knowing her on somewhat of a personal level, we know the passion that Manisha has for the game. And there are a lot of women out there who have a passion for football. So Hope Powell is right in terms of it's all about opportunity, because it very much is. If you don't get an opportunity and you're not able to get an opportunity, how are you ever going to progress? How are you ever going to try and break down barriers? Someone's got to be willing to give you a chance. The thing is, the kind of attitudes you still got to get over some chauvinistic attitudes. And what David Gold was saying How is she going to deliver motivation before kickoff? How is she going to deliver? How is she going to raise the testosterone levels in players? With that sort of attitude, that's why women are not getting opportunities. Because of that sort of attitude from David Gold. And bearing in mind, he's running West Ham alongside David Sullivan and Karen Brady. And he's got that kind of attitude in his mind. I don't know how Karen Brady can work with him, knowing he's got that kind of attitude. But Gman, Gezzie, what do you guys reckon, man? What do you reckon?
Well, you know, if I just jump on quickly, I just want to say, like you, like Heather Rabatt. So I think it's possible. I'm not like, you know, but however, when you hear some comments from David Gold, yeah, you then think to yourself, is it really possible? Because if there's people like himself in the game, you know, and he's influential, he has a part ownership in West Ham, you know, and West Ham, you know, have a big following and whatnot, you know, and you know the West Ham's background, you get me? So if there's people like him in the game, then there's many others who are like-minded him in the game. Like, they might not come out and say it,
but there's probably a lot.
There probably is a lot of them. So at the end, it's going to be an uphill struggle. But I don't think there will be much of a problem. I think, like anything, you know, once something happens, people just get used to it. Sean Massey came into the scene as a lineswoman, you know, and what happened was, all that happened was, really and truthfully, people got caught out. People who had bigotry views about certain, you know, women being in the game, you know, what might have been a light-hearted conversation 10 years ago, then became a problem because you can't say that if a woman's in the game. You know what I mean? You know, it might be a joke, and the women that you're around might see it as a joke. But at the end of the day, when it comes to a professional capacity now, and someone is actually part of your profession, you know, making fun and jokes of certain situations around that, you know, your tolerance levels have to change. You have to change your mind frame. Like, we can't all go on like, oh yeah, we haven't said certain jokes and we don't say certain things. We can't be like that, because people that do that make me sick, to be honest. Because to act like you're fresh and clean and you're straight off the cleanest boat in the world, you're not. But at the end of the day, when situations change, you got to change. You got to move with the times.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And you know what I mean, David Gold, he needs to move with the times, because saying things like that, and as you rightly said, he's working with an influential female who works with Sir Alan Sugar, who, you know, used to own a football club himself. Now, why would he have her working beside him if he was of that sort of nature where women ain't good enough?
Yeah. No, true. I mean,
because women can't raise the level, you know. What's that all about? That sort of comment is wrong.
Gezzie Fizzle, do you want to jump in on this point as well?
I do. I was waiting and I was listening intently to what both yourself and the G-Man had to say, and I have to say I'm in full agreement. It's comments like these by people like him that is what is holding women back in the game of football. It's as simple as that. There is nothing to go and say to me that a woman cannot go and be a successful manager in football. Right? And if you want to go and separate it, you can have a women's players football association if you really want to. You know, and you can have female managers in a female league if you really want to. But I say this, why would you separate it? Why not have, you know, some of the great male managers share their knowledge with some of the soon-to-be great female managers?
Exactly, what, like a mentoring program?
Why not just make it be about the game of football? It's not about sex, it's not about gender, it's not about gender roles. It's just about, do you have the ability, whether you're a player or a coach, do you have the ability to get the best from yourself and from your staff? And if you do, then you should be in the job. Simple as that.
Yeah.
It's not about, can a woman go and inspire to, you know, at halftime? Women can go and inspire to do lots of things, far more important than winning football games, I might add. Right? So on the basis of that, I will say this. All this worrying about, oh, you know, how's a woman going to go and be able to do this or do that? I asked the question, how can a woman go and do everything else that she does?
To be perfectly frank, let's boil it down. A lot of women are amazing beyond measure. Let's call a spade a spade here. At the end of the day, a lot of women are morons, but a lot of men are morons too.
Oh yes.
A lot of men are even more moronic. Blatter Pacini. Let's not go down that road again. Umbreen, you've been obviously vocal in the chat. We'd love to hear your view on this as well. The PFA allowing women footballers in from next season, and also the potential of a female manager of a professional men's club within the next decade.
I don't know. I'm just kind of I feel I'm getting mixed signals about this. In a very respectful way, of course. But on the one hand, I'm hearing that yes, we're very open to the idea of women being involved, within the next decade. But on the other hand, I'm hearing kind of this rhetoric about women. Can they handle the whole foul language and the uncouth behaviour? Because that apparently is part of the football culture. So if we as a society can kind of think that yes, women should be in government, there should be women in positions and of authority and in the boardroom, etc., and yes, now this whole rhetoric has emerged that yes, women should be involved in prominent positions within football. But then again, can the culture be changed where football is accepted? The way it's coming about, the impression that is being given here, that kind of uncouth foul behaviour is just accepted to be the norm. If that can't be changed, then how can the attitude that women should be more involved be altered?
Football does reflect society in a way. A lot of men have kind of an inferiority complex, if you will, because most men are like, no, I don't want a woman telling me what to do. And you look at the egos that chopped down Andre Villas-Boas in that Chelsea dressing room. Look at the egos that chopped him down. Now, a woman going into that is the lion's den. And the club, you would need clubs to take the plunge. I think as Hope Powell said, you would need clubs to take the plunge. And you would need clubs to get behind women. Like I've said before, men's football definitely has to help women's football out.
I want to touch on something that Umbreen said with the skepticism about the comments about women not being able to handle the mental pressures and the swearing and whatnot. Yeah. That is a load of Capital One Cup. Yeah. You know what? Anyone that says that, and I know Umbreen's not saying that, but I know any male person within football that's saying that, that's absolutely Capital One Cup, because you know what? My mum has cursed. I've heard other people's mums curse. I've heard female teachers cursing. I've heard women curse all my life. Yeah. I've seen women with attitude, anger, aggression. They've got so much of it. So where the hell anyone can come up with that Capital One Cup, and spurt that around and have us believe that women can't handle pressure, then they're chatting so much rubbish.
Oh, of course.
It's straight up sexism. That sort of mentality, it's just straight up sexism that they don't want women in football.
There's been a couple of interesting things said in the Skype chat. And Big T, by the way, welcome to the show. Always got to throw them T's up.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to jump in? Did you want to jump in on this?
I think it could be a blessing in disguise, really, because women, they get their own way, and I don't mean like that. I'm not going to be wrong one yet, but it's like if a woman asks to do something or asks for you something to do, a man's going to do it. So like if a woman asks on the football pitch for you to do something, he's going to do it. But the one thing I worry about, and I think all the lads are going to agree with me, has she got the testosterone to like scream at a player and asking them to do something? It's like, if you want to rally the players up, what is she going to do? Is she going to lift the top up? No, I don't think that's going to work. Seriously, she has to start shouting. She has to get inside the players' heads and rally them up. And no, not like that, Liam. But if you're a male manager, that's what you do, don't it? If you're at half-time, like you're Alex Ferguson or you're Arsene Wenger, no, Gav, I'm not going down that word. But it's like, you're going to rally the players up, aren't you? If you're a male, you're going to rally people up, don't you? Because if you shout at somebody, that's going to get them motivated, is it not? If you're a woman, can you see that happening in the changing room? I think it could work, but I can't see a woman going in the changing room, bringing the players in at half-time, rallying them up and coming out in the second half playing better. I think it could be good, but I don't think being a manager, not yet, maybe a coach, but manager, not quite yet, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Why is it that you think that a woman can't go and do that?
No, I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying, like, if you've got a man who's a manager, most managers are blokes, right? If you go into a changing room and you're losing 4-0 down, can you... I'm not being sexist or anything, but can you imagine a woman going in there, shouting at players, screaming at players, motivating them? They're going to be more sincere and kind and try and, you know, like say, oh, well, you didn't do bad. Maybe if you up your game a bit. Like if it was a manager, a male manager, they're going to go in there, all guns blazing, and absolutely shout their heads off and rally them up like, oh, you did this wrong. You better get your act together. You play down the wings. No. I mean, Gezzie, can you see it happening, mate? I can't see a woman, and I don't mean that in an offensive way, but I can't see a woman going out there and motivating a player in the same way a male manager.
I can understand that a lot of people have a similar viewpoint to yourself.
Yeah, but I don't agree with it.
I can understand that, but I don't agree with it. Here's the thing, right? I work in a hospital. I work in a very specific department in the hospital, and my line manager is a woman. Okay? This particular woman takes no guff from anybody.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I know that technically speaking, right, my line of work in this hospital versus football management are totally different. But here's the thing. The basic principles still apply. Okay? It's all about if you have the ability. So it doesn't matter whether it's a man or a woman. It's all about if you've got the ability. If you have the ability to know your players, to connect with your players and understand what it is that they require at a time when, say, for example, you are losing 3-0 and it's half-time, and you know your players well enough to know what to say and how to say it, sex doesn't even come into it. Gender doesn't even come into it. Gender roles do not come into it.
Exactly. James Edie, welcome to the show, by the way. You've had do you want to say what you've been saying in the Skype chat?
Basically, I just don't think women will have the right control over the players. Like what Tom says, if a team's 4-0 down, can a woman really motivate the team to go out there and try and get the points?
No, I
believe a man in charge of the team has a better communication with the players than what a woman would.
But
maybe women as assistant managers, fair enough. I just don't think they could handle it as full-time managers.
What are you talking? What are you talking about in terms of handling though? What's that?
All the media, all transfers and press conferences and stuff like that. And you're obviously gonna get sexist comments and all that from I just don't think they'd be able to do that.
But you know what? I've got to say I don't agree with your view. Thank you for articulating your view, by the way. That's what we're all about here: honest expression and honest opinion. But you know what? I don't agree with it. So for me, people saying that a woman wouldn't be able to handle the pressure, whether it be the media, whether it be managers, whether it be whatever else, BS. I think that's a load of crap. I think that is a cheap cop-out, and that sort of attitude. If some people think that about women, you've blatantly still got people who think that about black players as well, and Asian players. In my personal opinion, the ignorance levels, there's a thin line between sexism and racism. There's a very, very thin line. And I'm not saying they're the same struggles, but there's a thin line between them.
Football just needs to plonk a woman into a situation, plonk her into Manchester United, plonk her or wherever, or plonk her into Leeds, or plonk her into Hull, yeah? And, views will change, because what's going to happen is people are going to be like, oh, it's a woman footballer. It's a woman footballer for 2 weeks. Then 2 more weeks. Oh, she lost her first game. It must be because she's a woman. Oh, she's gone on a winning streak. Yeah, it's great. They're going to forget. They're eventually going to forget her sex. They're just gonna know that person as being a great manager or a bad manager eventually. And
exactly,
these debates are great having, and us expressing our opinions, because that's all it is. But we just need it to happen.
Yeah, we need to make it. We do need to make it happen and make it a reality. But the fact of the matter is, we've got to get past some of the ignorant opinions that are out there. We've actually got Manisha messaging us now, and she coaches a men's team, Indian gymkhana. She actually does coach a men's team. So she's trying to break down them barriers, and Manisha has actually said have to have the ability to understand and connect with your players. Man or woman don't matter. Naturally, you adapt your approach to suit a men's game. And the fact,
which is exactly what I said.
Yeah, exactly. It's spot on. It's spot on. For me, it's a case of need to break down stereotypes and norms. For me, I don't care whether you're black, white, yellow, green, you can purple for all I care. You could be man, woman, hermaphrodite. I don't give a damn. If you got passion for football, then you're a good person in my book. Person. Not good woman, not good man, but a good person. We're all part of the same human family right here.
The whole issue of can women handle the pressure? I mean, seriously, are people not aware how many female leaders there are in the world? You know, whether they're in members of parliament or whether they're actual leaders. You know, if they can handle talking to the media and dealing with international pressures, then I think handling a football team is slightly on a, you know, lesser competitive level. Furthermore, the issue, can men not have this kind of communication with women, and that men to men communication is better? Well, that's just nonsense. And Manisha, in her text to you, has pretty much articulated that herself. This whole debate does serve to prove that chauvinism is still prevalent. It may be in a minority segment of society, but the fact that it is there, it just means that it's the mindset that has to change. It's not about the women's ability. Women are completely obviously able to do everything. The only thing that men can't do that we can do is give birth. Yeah. Aside from that, I don't think there's any comparison really. So It's not about our ability, it's about changing the mindset of a minority who are chauvinistic, unfortunately.
Well, it's a case of why can't we all just work together? Mate, it's one of them was united we stand, divided we fall. Why can't we all work together? That's the thing that gets me with this. Instead of saying, oh, women can't handle the pressure this, they can't handle the pressure that, why not say, all right, if we think you can't handle the pressure, we will help you. Why not that? Why not let that attitude, why is it that it's not that attitude permeating? That's what I don't get. But I mean, Mike Harniman, you want to jump in quickly as well?
Yeah, basically what I was saying was obviously you've got women in the game already. You've got like women physios, women who are obviously lines women and whatever already. So I can see it happening anyway. Because basically, if they've got the qualifications and the coaching badges that they need, then why not? Just give them a chance. You might as well.
Views via the social networks as well, haven't we, Gav?
Yeah, we just got one by Julie Newton. Big shout out to Julie Newton. She just said, let's remember, lads, anything a man can do, a woman can do equally. You know, short but sweet, but it is actually true.
It's true, yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, very, very true. At least now there's some progression in football.
Good shout.
And it's actually the beginning. It's the beginning of something. Now, I'm not going to go and go crazy with it and say that, you know, it's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be done properly and all the rest of it. But it's still a start. Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, and you got to start breaking down those barriers. And
well, this is it. Yeah. Here's the thing. For a lot of our listeners that don't know, okay, Pitch Talk started out simply as a conversation about football.
Yeah.
Yeah. No YouTube, no microphones, no cameras. Just a conversation about football, and this is where we are now.
Exactly.
So the mere fact that we're talking about women joining the PFA, having more women coming into football in terms of management and coaching, and then progressing up the ladder, it's still a start. And what we have to do from now is nurture the seed.